Spain. Land of heroes, of conquerors, of saints and kings who built an empire where the sun never set. But also, land of vipers hidden beneath the cloak of honor. Men who swore loyalty and sold it for a few coins, for a title, or out of simple spite. History is not only written with heroic blood at Lepanto or Covadonga, also with brave blood, the rotten blood of traitors. This is the other side of our history, with names that history should not remember. And today, in this video, we are going to put them on trial for treason, one by one. Spain has had external enemies, yes, but the worst traitors were always born within its own walls. And the first ones on this long list appeared more than 2,000 years ago, when Rome was still trying to subdue the peoples of Hispania. There, in the rugged mountains of Lusitania, an unexpected man emerged. Viriathus, a simple shepherd, hardened by the harsh life of the countryside, who became a leader and brought the all-powerful Roman Republic to its knees. For 8 years, his guerrilla tactics and ambushes humiliated Roman generals, destroyed legions, and restored hope to the peoples of Hispania. Rome called him terror, and Hispania called him father and protector. But greatness does not always fade on the battlefield. Sometimes it is extinguished by the rats that bite from within. Viriathus trusted 3 men from his guard. Their names were Audax, Ditalcon, and Menuro. The Romans, unable to defeat him with the sword, turned to gold and found in these 3 a weak spot born of cowardice. Bribed with promises of riches and favors, those who were supposed to watch over the leader's sleep decided to betray him. One night, while Viriato was sleeping, they entered his tent. There was no duel or resistance, only the cowardly dagger stabbing into the flesh of the man who trusted them. The hero fell, not before the enemy, but at the hands of those who were supposed to die by his side. Audax, Ditalcon, and Menuro ran to the Roman camp believing they would receive gold and honors. But when they appeared before Consul Servilius Scipio, they found only contempt. The Roman dismissed them with a phrase that became a maxim.
Eterna.
Rome
does not reward traitors.
The wretches who betrayed their leader were deceived a second time.
There was no reward, there was no glory. Only their names remained engraved in memory as a symbol of disgrace. With the death of Viriato, the Lusitanian resistance was broken. Hispania was left open to the Roman advance. That is how Viriato ended, and that is how the first traitors in our history emerged. The betrayal of Viriato was the first bite, but not the last. Centuries passed, Rome fell, and in Hispania a Visigothic kingdom rose that seemed strong, heir to the ancient greatness. But once again, the dagger did not come from outside, but from within. And at the center of this story is a name that became synonymous with betrayal. Count Don Julian. Don Julian, governor of Ceuta. Tradition says that he sent his daughter Florinda, known as La Cava, to the court in Toledo to serve as a lady-in-waiting. There, King Rodrigo, the last Visigothic monarch, dishonored her. The father, instead of demanding justice or defending the kingdom, swore vengeance against Rodrigo.
Regem illum maledictum ulciscar.
And his vengeance was not against one man, but against all of Hispania. In 711, Don Julian made a pact with the Muslims from North Africa. He opened the Strait of Gibraltar for them, and ensured safe passage for them to the peninsula. General Tariq ibn Ziyad crossed over with his troops and within a few weeks defeated Rodrigo at the Battle of Guadalete. What began as a personal vendetta ended with 8 centuries of Islamic presence on the Iberian Peninsula. Don Julian not only betrayed his king, he betrayed his people, his religion, his homeland. The name of Don Julian was cursed in the medieval chronicles. His memory became a warning. The traitor always opens the door to disaster. While Covadonga illuminated the network, Julian's memory remained a reminder of how one person's cowardice can drag everyone into ruin. But betrayal can also dress in a habit and wield a pen instead of a sword. In the middle of the 16th century, when Spain ruled an empire on which the sun never set, a Dominican friar ignited the longest-lasting propaganda campaign against our nation. His name, Bartolome de las Casas.
Bartolome went to the New World at the age of 18, where he witnessed some things that shouldn't be hidden.
But also of a complex world, with wars, alliances with indigenous people fighting among themselves. However, in his account there were no nuances, only executioners and victims. In 1552, he published his very brief account of the destruction of the Indies, a short but incendiary text. In it, he claimed that the Spaniards had exterminated more than 9 million indigenous people, then raised the number to 12, later to 15, ending with a total of 24 million just in Hispaniola and part of New Spain. Something impossible, since it is estimated that the population of Central America and the Caribbean did not even reach 15 million in the most optimistic studies. In addition, about 95% of indigenous deaths were caused by European diseases. But the transmission was not one way. Syphilis came from America, and in just a few decades, it is estimated that more than 5 million Europeans died because of it.
He also described the conquistadors as devourers of souls and bloodthirsty, who were only there to wipe out all the indigenous people.
No judicial document, conquistador's letter, or contemporary chronicle, nor modern historians confirm those episodes. He even attributed atrocities to people who never set foot in the places he described. Las Casas used language typical of apocalyptic sermons. His accounts repeated the pattern of Christian martyrdom, presenting the Indians as absolute innocents and the Spaniards as demons.
And Bartolome himself admitted that he did this to move the hearts of Christian princes.
He aimed for emotional impact, not accuracy.
Diese spanischen Mörder.
But his words got away from him. The work was translated into French, English, German, and Dutch within a few decades. In 1598, the engraver Theodore de Brie illustrated it with gruesome scenes. The Protestants presented them as proof of Spanish fanaticism. England and Holland used them to justify their invasions. They claimed to be liberating America from Spanish barbarism. Even centuries later, Voltaire, Diderot, and the French encyclopedists repeated their accusations without verifying a single source. His own compatriots contradicted him. Bernal Díaz del Castillo and Gonzalo Fernández de Oviedo accused him of inventing atrocities and called him a slanderer of the empire. But in Europe, the truth stopped mattering.
That's how the Black Legend was born, that distorted image of Spain as a cruel, inquisitorial, and backward nation. A lie that still resonates today in classrooms, books, and the minds of half the world.
But there was still a more twisted Judas to come, one who didn't speak from a pulpit, nor from the far reaches of America, but from the very heart of power itself. The prudent King's Secretary of State, a man who knew the secrets of the most powerful monarchy on earth, and he sold them to the enemy. His name, Antonio Pérez. Ambitious and brilliant, he soon earned the trust of Philip II, who made him his personal secretary. He handled the letters that connected the throne with Flanders, with Rome, and with the viceroyalties of America. He accessed information no one else should see.
But power that is not controlled ends up corrupting. And Pérez, the king's scribe, began to use the ink to conspire.
His downfall began with a crime. Don John of Austria, the king's half-brother, had appointed Juan de Escobedo as his secretary. But when Escobedo began to investigate the court intrigues of Antonio Pérez, the Aragonese decided to eliminate him. On March 31st, 1578, Escobedo was stabbed to death on a street in Madrid.
Pérez tried to make it seem as if it had all been ordered by Philip II himself. But I found out and had him arrested.
He was imprisoned in Turin, but he escaped. He crossed Aragon in disguise, stirring up the people against the king with lies about his supposed injustice. This is how the Zaragoza riot of 1591 was born, an uprising manipulated by Pérez himself to save his own skin.
Pursued, he fled to France and then to England, the two greatest enemies of Spain.
That's it.
There he sold all the secrets of the empire.
From Paris and London, Pérez became a professional slanderer. What a shitty time. He published memoranda, letters, and pamphlets where he revealed the mechanisms of Spanish power, secret reports, and war strategies. His poison was enthusiastically received by Spain's enemies. In France, they portrayed him as a hero. In England, even the Elizabethan court welcomed him. They displayed him as a trophy.
And that's how some of the most poisonous tales of the Black Legend were born. That of a monarch who was secluded, cruel, and fanatical.
An image that never matched reality, but that has haunted Spain for centuries since then. Antonio Pérez died in 1611, alone and forgotten. His end was the one that befits traitors. No homeland, no honor, no dignified grave. Thank you for... But there are still more to come.
Because the history of Spain is full of heroes.
But also of traitors. And some of the worst have yet to appear before this court. If you liked the video and want a second part, comment, like, and share. Only you can make YouTube recommend the videos.